Kongversation. Now that I have my peg leg, I'm the fiercest pirate on the seven seas. But why won't someone teach me how to drive this boat?
Hello, and welcome to the Kongversation. I'm Hyle Russell.
And I'm Nick Prol.
Oh, Nick. Guess what we're doing tonight?
We're having Mamechi back on?
Of course. Actually, Nick, you're fired, and it's just going to be Mamechi. Actually, I'm fired, too. Mamechi's just taking over the whole damn DK Vine enterprise at this point, so...
I'd be okay with it.
You would. I might have some philosophical issues with it, but... Yes, we're doing a call sack tonight. Basically, what these episodes are, every few months, our DK Vine Hotline mailbox gets too full, and we have to release the calls into the wild. We've nursed them back to health after, they got caught in bear traps or were, hit by bicycles or, what have you. So they're ready to be returned to the wild, and that's what we're doing. Where any topics go, these are the stray calls that we got. These, I think we started collecting these right after the election, because that's when we had the last call sack, right after Putin hacked DK Vine. So these are about all sorts of news topics that cropped up over the last few months, and just random thoughts people had that they called in with. Up to today. Anyway, if you would like to get on this action, this malarkey, then call 1-281-410-KONG. It's 5664. That's the DK Vine Hotline. Usually we solicit calls from our listeners about the topic on hand at any given week, but sometimes, we like the off-topic or just... calls that have no relevance to anything, because we save them for these episodes, and then that way we don't have to come up with a show topic for that week, which is really good, because we don't really have a winter shit fucks this year, which is the time period that we ascribe like post-holiday to spring, where there is really no video game news. Summer Swamp Ass is the appropriate title for the summertime, but
Fall fist fuck.
We've got the Nintendo Switch coming out at the end of winter here in early March, just a little bit now. And then, of course, Yooka-Laylee is in April. A bunch of people are playing the Sea of Thieves technical alpha, I assume. And, there's a lot happening right now. So we kind of bypassed the winter shit fucks this year, but only barely, because we're still in this kind of dead period where we're kind of waiting for the stuff to be released, and until then, there's not a whole lot to talk about. So this is a good time to get the call sack emptied, just release it all over our listeners' eardrums. That's right.
Sounds good.
That's a great visual, too. Just imagine us unloading our sacks.
I'm imagining a drum covered in calls, and the Blue Man Group is playing it, and they're splashing everywhere.
Yeah, that would be a fitting end for my DK bongos, should I ever be Donkey Konga 2.
Yeah, except that wouldn't be blue paint.
No, I probably would just release everywhere, just out of sheer jubilation that I'm done. I am done. But we'll see. I'll save that for the Slush Fun Twitch, my upcoming Twitch chronicles of my attempts to beat the last remaining songs I have on Donkey Konga 2. And
make sure to tune into where I do commentary on various Jack Nicholson films. It's going to be called The Twitches of Eastwick.
Really? Okay. So that's, out of all the Jack Nicholson films you could have chosen a pun from, I guess that's the only one that rhymes with Twitch, so it makes sense. But I don't know. I don't consider The Witches of Eastwick to be his most important statement.
That's where we differ.
All right, we have a lot of calls to take, so let's not waste any more time. By the way, how do Nick and I waste time? Right before this podcast started, we were pondering whether or not the Star Wars character Bib Fortuna was ever marketed as a toddler's bib. Like, why has there ever been a bib Fortuna made for?
They should. They'd make a Fortuna.
Well, I remember that. Didn't Think Geek or something do that Tauntaun sleeping bag as an April Fool's gag one year? And it,
probably
like, people wanted it so badly they eventually actually invested in it. All right. Well, anyway, we're not going to have that problem at DK Vine because we're never going. we never offer anything people actually want.
I wouldn't mind like an inflatable moon punching bag.
Yeah. We should Body by DK Vine. That could be our whole gym series where things to keep people in shape, things to keep gamers in shape who enjoy the Donkey Kong universe. Because let's face it, most of our audience probably does not keep in a tip-top condition.
Dun, 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 dun.
Call number 1.
Hey guys, this is Cuburn. I just got done listening to the Diddy Kong Racing Adventure episode, and I just want to say, Matt was fucking amazing. I could honestly listen to him talk on hours on end. I propose that you guys start a new miniseries called Oops All Matt Corna, featuring Matt Corna. That's all I really want to say. Keep on trucking.
Oh, isn't that nice? Cuburn likes Matt. Matt's his favorite Kongversation host. Cuburn L. Matt. Cuburn Matt circled by a heart. Cuburn and Matt sitting in a tree.
Cuburn, I thought we had something. We're over.
Yeah, Cuburn, I have to admit my feelings are a bit hurt. Yes, Matt is brilliant, but I have such a fragile ego, and I need adulation and just basically smoke blown up my ass constantly, and you did not provide that for either myself nor Nick. So I think I'm not going to play any more of your calls for the rest of the episode. I'm sorry.
I think I've done so much as call him my favorite listener in the past on an episode, and I take that back.
Yeah. Well, Matt somewhere
I just got Q burned.
Ooh, feel the Q bird. Yeah. Matt is somewhere. He's not here right now, but I'm sure Matt sensed something in the force, which, for Matt, that just references to himself. And I'm sure Matt is somewhere twisting his nipples, just grinning ear to ear, and he has no idea why. All right. Well, thank you for the call, Q-Burn. Matt is fantastic. Yay, Matt.
Yay.
Hyle and Nick are pieces of shit. That's pretty much what he implied, right?
Yeah, of course. Subtext.
Subtext, right. You gotta read between the lines.
Okay. What's up? My name is Sir Kijo. I'm a little new around here. Okay, so I got a crazy intense theory. It's not really theory. It's the real backstory. The real 100% official backstory to the canine dog we all know and love. Okay. Here we go. So Canine was a dog named Canine, but it was spelled K-A-N-I-N-E, just regular Canine. And his dad, Bill the professor, he had like an orange. They lived in Florida. They like to juice oranges together, and Bill's recent creation was the orange juicer. So Bill went outside to buy a pack of I don't know, screws or something. So Canine was he was really interested with this juicer. So he jumped inside the juicer and it grinded him up. Okay. And then Bill, the professor, came back and he's like, whoa, dang, didn't expect this today. And then, so he removed the bucket from underneath the juicer and he saw his dog and it was all mushed up. So, Professor Bill's like, whoa, well, I guess I can turn this guy into a robot dog now. So he turned Canine, the dog, spelled K-A-N-I-N-E, into a robot dog, spelled just K-9. And Canine, he went on to save lives. Bye.
What the fuck was that?
Yeah. What the fuck?
Okay, so
What's Canine?
I was trying to put the pieces together initially because I didn't know what DKU character he was talking about. Was he talking about Edson's dog from off of Dream, the game that became Banjo-Kazooie?
That wasn't a robot.
No. But then I realized he was actually just talking about Doctor Who the entire time.
The whole time?
The whole time. That's the shocking twist ending. He was talking about Doctor Who the entire time.
The whole time. Wow. Wait, so there's a person named Bill with a blender or something?
I can't vouch for that because I haven't checked TARDIS wiki tonight. But I can tell you, yes, the character K9 is a Kongversation favorite, especially due to his role in the 1980s Doctor Who spinoff K9 and Company. More so for the opening title credits than anything else. But
so like Oliver and Company or something?
No, possibly inspired by Oliver and Company, but the and Company with K9 was famed Third Doctor and Fourth Doctor companion Sarah Jane, who eventually got her own spin-off series during the New Who era, the Sarah Jane Adventures. By the way, K9 also got another spin-off during that time period, but I believe it was produced by Australian television and not the BBC. It was just called K9. How do I know this? I don't know.
I thought he was talking about the Widowmaker.
No, not that. Not that classic Harrison Ford film. Wait, was that a Harrison Ford film?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. It sounded like a Harrison Ford film. Did you hear Harrison Ford crash another plane?
Yeah, like on an airplane runway or something.
Yeah, I mean it's not as cool as crashing a plane on a golf course, but he's slowing down in his age. He can only crash planes, so far from where he takes off. He's
living dangerously.
Yeah, clear and present danger. I'm glad there was several witnesses there to pull him out.
Yeah, I mean, regarding Henry. Oh, wait, that doesn't really fit.
He would have needed some sort of witch to put him back together again, had he been mangled up. Maybe like a Sabrina.
Maybe like a Witch of Eastwick?
Wrong actor, you fucking tool. All right. I was hoping we could keep that going, find a way to work in all the Indiana Jones films. That one young Indiana Jones serial that he appeared on where he played a bearded Indiana Jones.
There was a young Indiana Jones serial? I would have eaten that as a kid.
Yeah. Sean Patrick Flanneros. Yeah. Anyway, thank you for the call. I didn't catch your name, but I don't think it matters because I don't think your call mattered.
I think it was Sir Kijo or something, but yeah, don't ever call back, ever.
I'm sure that's not his name, but it's the names we ascribe to people when they first call in. They tend to get stuck with it. Ask Rob Butler and Kevin Folders and the rest about that.
Yeah. Long-time listener, last-time caller.
No, please, call again if you have any insights into the secret origins of beloved Doctor Who robots. But only the robots. I don't care about the rest. Thank you. And thank you for being so delightfully off topic to the Donkey Kong universe.
That's what these episodes are for.
Yes.
Hello, DK Vine, the greatest forum and podcast of the conversation in the world. This is Tyler Hill, a.k.a. Chain Chomp DX on YouTube. I was just questioning myself lately, as in, why is there no Donkey Kong 64 2? I mean, Donkey Kong was great. He was the only game he was in there, though, with his pineapple bazooka and big lummox. He's a big lummox. He's only been in one game. Donkey Kong has been in multiple, I believe 2, because I know he's been in Donkey Kong Barrel Blast, if I'm not mistaken. But we need Chunky back. We need Chunky, we need Lanky, and we need little old Tiny Bag too. All in a sequel, for Donkey Kong 64. I'd love it. I bet you a lot of DK Vine fans would love it too. And thinking about, it was Donkey Kong's first fully three-dimensional appearance in Donkey Kong universe. So, Why not a sequel? Well, there's a question for you. What do you think it would be? Plotline, story, and gameplay for a sequel to Donkey Kong 64. Change on TX, sign it up. Have fun, DK Vine.
Thank you for the call. I'm just gonna call you Tyler Hill because I recognize that name from Facebook. I'm getting too old, Nick. I can't keep up with everybody's online handles with all their letters and numbers and weird capitalization and lower cases. I can't do it. I just give me a solid.
I think he said it was like Chain Chomp 69 or something.
All right, I like Tyler Hill because I can remember that because that's a name with the first name and then you attach the surname. Yeah, we're gonna go with that. That's why I dropped Sir Slush too. You know, it's just I'm a man in his early 30s. I've got gray in my temples. I walk with the limp. And as we established last week, I once punched Adolf Hitler in the face. I can't do it anymore, Nick. I'm in the retirement home, and I'm sorry, but you're Nick. You're not Spuzwick, and this guy's Tyler Hill. It's not Chain Chomp XX69 YOLO for life. When the 4 is with the.
That's all good, but Mamechi is still Mamechi.
No, Mamechi's his birth name. I don't care. I don't care for any other.
Scraps, still Scraps.
Well, Scraps, it's such a suiting name though, because Scraps, it sounds filthy. It sounds like some sort of like the puddle that's left over after sex. You know, it's like the scraps.
Clean up your scraps.
Yeah, clean up your scraps, young man. Disgusting.
I love how we haven't even gotten to his call yet.
Oh, I don't even think we have a Scraps call. I
mean
Scraps,
Tyler Hill's
too busy.
question.
Oh, okay, yeah. Spoilers, I don't think Scraps called in for the call sack. I know, he's letting us down left and right. Anyway, thank you for the call, Tyler Hill. Donkey Kong 64 too. This is, it is funny to me, and I know we've talked about this on the Kongversation, with me and Chad and me and Nick and me and probably Cameron and me and Joe probably and me and Jeff and me and Alistair and
Margaret Cho.
Yeah, Margaret Cho. That time she was on here, and I decided to introduce my new Chinaman character. She did
not like that.
It was it was not me being offensive. It was me celebrating the culture, but unfortunately you're not supposed to say Chinaman anymore, and I didn't know that because I was trying to appropriate her cult. Anyway, what are we doing?
Hypocritical of her to get mad, given that I'm pretty sure she did some offensive stereotype at the Oscars one time.
And I tried to explain, okay, it's not actually a man from China. It's actually a Celtic mystic. I've recreated the character. It's just one of many, but she still had a problem with it. So I dropped out. I dropped out of Doctor Strange at that point, and I gave it to Tilda Swinton. I was like, "You."
Oh yeah, you were.
I don't know what I'm
gotcha.
doing. Yeah. So anyway, Donkey Kong 64 too. Yeah. I just did this thing about me feeling old as of late, and Donkey Kong 64. It's like 5 years after the original Donkey Kong Country, but I see a clear generational divide here where for so many people who are about 5 years younger than me, and Nick, you would fall within this age range, roughly. I mean, you're younger than 5 years but 5 years younger than me, but roughly around that time. But for a certain segment of gamers who came in late N64 era or grew up with the game, through the GameCube years, Donkey Kong 64 was the Donkey Kong game. I mean, Donkey Kong Country, the trilogy, and Donkey Kong Land, they were like relics at that point. Donkey Kong 64 was what they were all about. And, obviously DK Vine, when we first launched in August of 1999, we were all about Donkey Kong 64 for the longest time. And then, we got kind of raked over the coals for our fanboy-esque reviews and glowing praise and absolutist opinions that Donkey Kong 64 was the greatest game of all time. And then we did a 180 over the years, and we realized, oh no, it's very flawed, very, very, very flawed. And now people are mad at us because we don't like Donkey Kong 64 enough. And that all being said, I do have soft spots for Donkey Kong 64. I like the characters. I like this. I mean, it's the old joke. I like everything but the game itself. But I do like parts of the game too. And I definitely want a new 3D Donkey Kong game. And, Tyler's question was, well, why haven't we gotten one? We should get one. It's something clearly people want. Yeah, it is. And it's something that I know they talked about even in the pre-release period of Tropical Freeze. I think Tanabe and Michael Kalbau were, speculating, well, wouldn't it be nice if we could build Donkey Kong up to the point where he could have 2D and 3D platformers? And I know the president of Camelot Studios wanted to do a 3D Donkey Kong game. But for whatever reason, Nintendo is it's kind of set in their ways. And I think they've kind of, zeroed in on what they want each genre representation to be. And unfortunately, we got Donkey Kong Country Returns duology. Hopefully it'll be a trilogy someday. But besides that, it's like, okay, they want Mario to be the platforming series, 2D and 3D, and or sometimes 2.5D. And there are exceptions. You get Yoshi's Woolly World or Kirby still, but they all have champions within Nintendo. And unfortunately, I don't think Donkey Kong has enough champions within Nintendo besides Miyamoto and, say, Michael Kalbau and some others, I think. And Miyamoto can only oversee so much. So it's not a situation like, say, Fire Emblem, where games are going to be continually made, or Kirby, where people, continually go to bat for it. It's going to be something that, unfortunately, only gets made every so often, much like so many other Nintendo franchises have withered and atrophied to that point of. So I would love a new 3D Donkey Kong game. I would love a new 2D Donkey Kong game. I would love a new Diddy Kong Racing. I would like a Donkey Kong puzzle game in the style of Coconut Crackers, a la It's Mr. Pants. I would like a Donkey Kong RPG, But at this point, I would love to be proven wrong. And I've been proven wrong so many times over the course of DK Vine's history. So I still hold out hope that there is a new 3D Donkey Kong game coming. Hell, just a couple years ago, we were speculating that it was a very, very huge possibility that we would get one. And I think I've only been discouraged after Tropical Freeze really didn't move the needle that much. And granted, there were, factors like the Wii U being an abysmal financial failure at that point. And this was before Mario Kart 8, Splatoon, Super Smash Bros. 4. But still, Tropical Freeze, it did sell over 1 million copies worldwide, but it wasn't the huge blockbuster success that Donkey Kong Country Returns was. So, I don't know. Nick, do you have any thoughts on this?
Everything he just said.
Okay, great.
That was quite a in-depth answer. Filibustering there for a moment.
And the discouraging thing is there are people who want to make a 3D Donkey Kong game, but Nintendo's not willing to invest the capital in it. And I think they're leaving money on the table, because I think even more so than Donkey Kong Country, I think a 3D Donkey Kong game would... The nostalgia is clearly there. As somebody who is in the salt mines for this kind of stuff day in and day out, I see it. Everything I post about Donkey Kong 64 on, say, the Facebook page, which, is more than just the hardcore insular DK Viners. It's just people who like Donkey Kong, people who like Rare, people who like Playtonic. But anything I post about Donkey Kong 64 is sure to get heat, a reaction.
Does he get more likes than country stuff?
It depends. Country stuff still gets plenty. Land stuff's always the hardest sell from that time period, because so many people have forgotten the land games, and the people who do remember them probably have moved on with their lives.
Donkey Kong Land 1 is a better game than Donkey Kong 64. I said it.
Donkey Kong 64 at the very least has better falling mechanics, because you can't fall off the screen and then the screen will fail to catch up with you, and you just instantly die. That cannot happen in Donkey Kong.
I kid, of course, yeah.
No, Donkey Kong Land, it's a solid little platformer for what it is, but the problem is any Game Boy game from that era, even the Super Mario Land games, and even the like early Wario Land games, even that's kind of a tough sell, I think, to gamers today. I think the only like classic.
I just started playing Wario Land 1 again. It holds up.
You mean Super Mario Land 3?
Yes, of course.
Super Mario Land 3. Or Wario Land, Super Mario Land 3. You got to say the full title, Nick, or else.
Of course. Lost. Yeah. Sorry.
Like, by Wario Land 1, does he mean Wario Land 2? Because, okay.
I mean Wario Land 1 on the Xbox One, you know.
Oh, right. Yeah. And then, of course, there's Virtual Boy Wario Land, which
I really want to play. Is there a Virtual Boy emulator?
There are emulators, but I don't know. I can't speak to how well they replicate the actual Virtual Boy aesthetics. I think very poorly. I know there's some Virtual Boy emulators that are designed to be worn with the blue and red 3D glasses, like the old 1950s style. And
I don't care about the 3D. I just want to play the game, like see the sprites.
I think there's this noxious like pink hue to it. There might be better Virtual Boy emulators out there now. I'm speaking from like 10 years ago, and it's really discouraging that Nintendo had the 3DS. Is the 3DS? I haven't heard any concrete evidence on this. Are they going to continue to support the 3DS, or is the 3DS going to be supplanted by the Switch too?
I haven't heard anything about that.
Okay, because that would be a shame, because I love portable gaming. And I know the Switch is supposed to be portable gaming, but in a sense it's not, because the battery life is so piss poor. Anyway, they had the 3DS. They never did Virtual Boy Virtual Console games. They could have brought the entire library, at least the Nintendo published games, to the 3DS Virtual Console, and it would have been perfectly like acceptable. I don't understand why. Again, Nintendo, it seems like they leave money on the table. You know, they have these games, just fucking put them on the 3D. I'm sure there's, logistics behind it. Oh, it doesn't really work the same, so they can't. But, goddamn, I want to play Galactic Pinball on my 3DS, Nick. I don't think that's too much of a thing to, ask for, considering it was Nintendo's first 3D system. They have a 3D system. They made a fucking red and black 3DS, as I'm sure was a clever little nod to the Virtual Boy, even if they would never officially state that. God damn it, I want my Virtual Boy games on the 3DS.
You're hearing it loud and clear.
Anyway, just come over to my place sometime, Nick. I'll let you play the Virtual Boy.
I'll try it out. Do you have Wario Land?
I have Wario Land, Virtual Boy Wario Land. I've
awesome?
got most of the games for the Virtual Boy, considering there's only 14. I've got the essentials. So,
have you beaten a Virtual Boy game ever?
I mean, Galactic Pinball. I've seen everything there is to see in the game.
Gotcha.
So,
yeah.
Anyway, thank you for the call, Tyler Hill. By the way, it should be pointed out that Lanky Kong and Chunky Kong did appear in the Game Boy Advance version of Donkey Kong Country 3. However, because it happened canonically before their first appearance in Donkey Kong 64, it's up for debate whether that's the first time Lanky met the Kongs, especially since Donkey and Diddy were also seen at the time in this minigame they appeared in. And of course, Donkey and Diddy were supposed to be in Chaos at the time, so is that really them, or are they, wait for it, say it with me at home, holograms. Yay! Thanks for the call.
Hey guys, it's your boy Sirky Joe back from the sack. I'm really sorry. This is gonna be a little two-parter. So, part one, sorry about the confusion with my other call. I was lost. I was very lost. Part two. Happy birthday, Hyle. Hope you have a good birthday. I know this is either kind of late because of the Kongversation's release, but happy birthday. I'm sure Chunky Kong is making a birthday cake somewhere in a cave with exactly 63 red candles and one blue candle and a lot of purple sprinkles. I don't really know why, but Chunky, he's just one hell of a guy. Alright, thank you. Wait, what? Never mind. Happy birthday, Hyle. Hope you have a good one. Peace.
Did he like run into some like pots and pans in his kitchen there at the end? It's always nice to get a birthday message 3 months after your birthday.
Yeah, it's pretty special.
You know, I have a very, very bad habit about opening mail, like physical mail. So I have actually in the past not opened birthday cards until like several months have passed. And then I just chuck them in the trash.
Oh, how kind of you.
It's really not, I mean, it's not as bad as it sounds. I just don't really.
You write no thank you and back?
No. Okay, so I hate greeting cards. Let's just get this out there right now. I hate the faux sentimentality. I hate the pre-packaged message.
What if it's a card, but then they wrote something themselves in it?
No, because even then, it's just such a forced gesture.
You don't like Matt's Christmas cards?
I love Matt's Christmas card because Matt's Christmas cards, like his actual Christmas cards that he sent out, not like anything like for DK Vine, like that he did or you did or Cameron did. But those are great, by the way. I love those. But Matt would send me profane Christmas cards and through the mail, which I usually wouldn't get until like December 29th. But it would be, say, for example, a father and his son looking at a major scene, and then the father threatening to molest the child. He would draw word bubbles on the card, like word balloons, and say like something about him inserting his penis into the child's
Christmas spirit.
Yeah, so that was always nice to get, especially since I always had given Matt the address to my parents' house.
Oh, Lord. Would they open it for you?
No, because I didn't trust the mail at the place I was living. So, yeah, and this one Christmas card that he said with the implied father-son fornication had the envelope had opened in transit, and so the card was just lying loose. When I came to visit my parents, the card was just sticking halfway out of the envelope, and I was like, "Yep, they're gonna suspect some things about old Hyle."
Well, I wonder, did they see my box I sent you with the jism all over it?
Yes,
they saw that.
They saw that, yes, because I had you send it to my parents' house.
For clarification, drawn jism, not actual.
Right, you were just so excited to send that box, like me finishing Donkey Konga 2, or you just made you just left the scraps all over it.
Oh, no, but wait. So they saw the drawing. Did they comment on it?
No.
Okay. I mean, you have to really look and think about it to tell what's going on in that drawing.
At this point, they have to know better. That they have to know that their son is a sexual deviant.
Yeah.
Just don't ask any questions. Yeah. So yeah. Now I have updated my address, so you don't. I feel very secure about where my mail goes now, so I no longer have things redirected to my parents' house. So send me all the profane things you want, people.
They now go straight to the Westboro Baptist Church, where you pick them up at the P.O. Box.
Yep. I'm actually living in their basement right now.
It's a good basement to live in.
Yeah, it actually is. I've got lots of profane, hard signs to sleep on.
Yeah.
In lieu of bedding, so... Yeah.
Well, good luck living there, man.
Well, God hates cots, so it's nice.
Yeah.
Yeah, or maybe that's cocks he hates. Anyway,
next call.
Next call. Yeah, I don't even know. Oh yeah, by the way, it wasn't Nick's sperm on this box. It was a visual recreation of the Tip Top suite from off of Banjo-Kazooie Granny's Revenge, which we know canonically now was indeed Tip Top's father's semen puddles coating the floor.
What are we doing with our lives?
Hey, that's on Pete Hentz from Rare. He's the one who designed that, and he's the one who signed off that canonically that is indeed what it is. So blame him. Don't blame us.
I blame Pete henceforth.
Hello, Kongversation. My name is Kevin. I believe I made a form account, but I don't know if it was activated or not. Should have been something like 16-bit socks or 16-bit Kevin. Anyways, first-time caller here. I found out about you guys after listening to Lobocast back in March and started listening to the conversation since then. And when I say I started listening, I mean I started all the way back with episode 1 of season 1 and listened to them all. I got cut off, I think, around late September. It was the episode right before the Yooka-Laylee toy box, if I remember correctly, as I had intended to make that my first call, but things fell through. Well, I just wanted to say thanks for all the entertainment for those months of listening. And, well, I guess I have some questions. 1, will there ever be another live call episode? Or live call-in episode, I should say, sorry. 2, what is the thing that you two are looking forward most from Yooka-Laylee and Lobo Destroy You, assuming you can talk about it? And 3, Hyle, do you still have your man crush on Henry Cavill? You haven't mentioned it in a while. Just wondering. All right. Well, keep up the great show. And can't wait to listen for more stuff. All right. See you.
Well, thank you for the call. A lot of first-time callers. I enjoy hearing new voices.
Yes,
I get
indeed.
tired of everybody else.
Thank you for
All right,
calling, Kevin.
So this was a 3-part call. He did a Mamechi. He pulled a Mamechi. He did question.
He
question.
called back?
No. Well, he might have. I don't know. But no. Just Mamechi's tiered questions in his calls that I believe Mitchell
Trail
Wolf,
of Tears.
parodied so well in the Mamechi co-hosted episode.
You mean the Mitch?
The Mitch, yes. First question, are we ever going to do another live call-in episode? Yeah, I would like to. And actually, it's something that I am looking into right now. It's the reason we didn't do one after the first one was it was a logistical nightmare to pull off. And Chad didn't want to have any part of it again. And I was a little bit more stubborn. I was like, no, there's got to be a way to make it work. So I've been looking into it. I fully intend to bring it back, hopefully within sometime over the next months, sometime this season. And I'd like to make it a more regular occurrence again. So stay tuned, fingers crossed. I'll find a way to make it work. I don't know if it's going to be exactly like it was before, but we'll sort it out. Question 2, what are we looking forward most about Yooka-Laylee? So I'll start. This is kind of a broad question. I would imagine just playing the game would rank as number 1.
Yeah.
But I guess that we need to be a little bit more cleverer than that. So, oh God, I think what I'm looking forward to most is, just Yooka-Laylee for the longest time since we first learned about it. Even, before we learned it starred a chameleon and bat. It's when a game is coming out that you're looking forward to, but especially a game that doesn't have a prior incarnation, that isn't a sequel so much, it's hard to put into context what you're in for. And I know, obviously, Yooka-Laylee is built on the bones of Banjo-Kazooie and that style of gameplay, but I really have no context for what Yooka-Laylee is besides the toy box and screenshots and, various pieces of information that has been released by Playtonic. So I think what I'm looking forward to most is fully understanding the world of Yooka-Laylee and kind of diving into it. I remember, Banjo-Kazooie, there was a time when I only knew vague snippets about what Banjo-Kazooie was. Up till actually playing the game, I only knew, these are the characters, this is the plot, but I really had no idea how the world pieced together until I got my hands on the game. And the same thing with Conker, even Donkey Kong 64,
Mm-hmm.
And so I think that's what I'm looking forward to most, is knowing once and for all the world of Yooka-Laylee, how it all fits together, how every corner of the game operates. And I think then, Yooka-Laylee won't just be this hypothetical thing that is coming, but doesn't really exist. It'll be something concrete. It'll be something in the pantheon of not only Platonic games shared universe, but in the broader Donkey Kong universe, the entire Rare shared universe, because we are drawing upon a couple connections from that game. Royston, obviously, that the unnamed goldfish in the bowl, and then we've got, which we're, it's Royston, come on, people. And then, of course, the DK rappers, or one DK rapper, at least, as played by Chris Sutherland, who will be doing the GK rap at the end of Yooka-Laylee. So we've got these connections. So it is part of the Donkey Kong universe, but that's not to take away from what Platonic is trying to build independently of that. So I'm just looking forward to really, I guess, to sum it up, to know everything about the game there is to know. Because I'm a guy who, as much as I love playing a game, and I do, I'm a gamer. I mean, I'm a weird gamer. I'm a gamer who, marches to the pan of his own drum, but I'm still a gamer, but I'm also a guy who loves lore. I'm a guy who loves world building. I'm a guy who loves to obsess over the minor details that gamers will forget, but I will still harp on and celebrate 20 years after, So I want to know, like, just the random nobody characters who don't matter. I want to know just the weird little background details that I can then kind of speculate on and build the elaborate backstory in my head around.
Same
That's
here,
the kind
yeah.
of stuff I'm looking forward to about Yooka-Laylee, more so than actually just playing the game. As much as I'm looking forward to playing the game, I think I'm more of a total package guy, and it's the weird contextual stuff that really keeps me coming back to Rare games and now Platonic games too. So yeah, that's my answer. But Nick, do you have any more elaborate thoughts than just what he said?
No, and I said that before just to for comedic effect because it was such a long answer. But that was a good answer as well.
That was even a longer answer though.
Yeah.
So it'd be really hilarious if you said it again.
What she said. No, I would say Platonic are really smart in that, for obvious reasons, they're showing just enough to whet people's appetites, and they're showing all the stuff that's very, on paper, very Banjo-like. We hear the Grant Kirkhope music, we see the collectibles, we see the character designs, but I have a feeling that they're not just doing a cash-in soft reboot type of thing. I have a feeling it's going to have a characteristic of its own, and that's what I'm actually looking forward to most, is because, everything we've seen so far is awesome. It's all well and good, but the cynic in me is sort of afraid that it's just going to feel like a cheap retread. And that's not what I want, because I don't like being cynical. I don't like bashing stuff. I like enjoying stuff. So I can't wait to see, even if it is very close to Banjo, the small things that make it not Banjo. That's what I'm most excited about, because if I wanted to play Banjo, I have Banjo, but I'd like a similar new world with enough differences to make me glad, if it is DKU, that it is. That's what I'm looking forward to.
Yeah, I think it's going to be, at least the humor, I think it's going to be more of a postmodern Banjo. Like, Banjo is pretty self-aware already.
Sure, especially Nuts and Bolts was pretty postmodern.
Yeah. But this is, I think, going to be where Nuts and Bolts was kind of, and as much as I've come around on Nuts and Bolts, and I recognize it as, it's a good game, just like we did Jungle Beat, or I did Jungle Beat, and I can recognize Jungle Beat's a good game. It just wasn't the game we wanted.
Yeah.
Right then. And it was only after, we got Donkey Kong Country Returns that I was able to go back to Jungle Beat, really play it 100% and say, yeah, that was a hell of a lot of fun. It's same thing with Nuts and Bolts. The renaissance needed to happen for Nuts and Bolts to be reevaluated. But that being said, Nuts and Bolts, a lot of the humor was kind of like gallows humor. It was kind of like making jokes at a funeral. It was.
Oh yeah, it was uncomfortable.
Well, it really felt like everybody at Rare just felt like this is it. This is our swan song. We're not coming back from this. And so, and I mean, for a lot of, people, it kind of was the end because that was the last game before Connect Sports. And, then there were layoffs and all that drama, which we're not going to get into. But, we wouldn't have gotten Platonic if it wasn't for that drama. We wouldn't have gotten the kind of new Rare if it wasn't for that drama. And I love the new Rare. I love Platonic. So I wouldn't really trade. I wish people didn't have to go through that misery, the fans included. But I think ultimately we've come to a good place because of it. But yeah, the humor of Nuts and Bolts was it was down on not only itself, but it was down on the past. It was down on previous Banjo games. It was kind of like saying gamers don't want 3D platformers anymore. Oh, everything has gone to rot. It's over. It's over. So, just the whole Grab by the Ghoulies was a miserable failure, wasn't it? Oh, we're gonna harp on that. And I can understand that, but it was kind of like, it reminds me of the self-deprecating humor I traded in when I was massively depressed at certain points in my life. You go back and look at DK Vine humor, like the Vine Donkey Kong audio program. My whole character in that show was based around who I was at that point, at least as far as the manic depressive states I would find myself in. So I kind of cringe seeing what Nuts and Bolts traded in because I see too much of myself from that time period, and that's a time period I don't want to revisit. Just when you don't have any hope and you're beating yourself up, hoping somebody will laugh because that laughter is the only thing you have to hold on to. It's glum. It's bleak. And
you don't say.
Yeah, it's not Bleak the Snowman. It's more Squirt than anything. Just horrifying. So anyway, so I don't think Yooka-Laylee is going to be that. We've already seen in the trailer. I hope it doesn't beat up on Nuts and Bolts too much, but it is. I did argue it's kind of the prerogative of, because some people a lot of people worked on Nuts and Bolts on Yooka-Laylee's team. So if they want to beat up on Nuts and Bolts, that's their right. Just because we've come around on it as gamers, and just because I'm not going to play into the whole is Platonic bashing Rare thing, because these guys worked for Rare. These guys are Rare just as much as Rare.
It just will be interesting. Nuts and Bolts will be like a unique game in the history of games that, like, not only does it hate itself, this other game hates it. Like, it's so hated.
Yeah. So I think with the critical reevaluation of Nuts and Bolts, I think, JonTron's video has lost power in light of the Rare Renaissance. And because people have replayed the game thanks to Rare Replay, people are more optimistic about not only Rare, but they're feeling good because Platonic is here as well to make the classic games, while Rare is making more 21st century fare like Sea of Thieves. So I don't know what point I'm getting at here. I think the humor of Yooka-Laylee is definitely going to be different than the humor of Banjo-Kazooie, because it's going to have 20 years, 19 years of Banjo-Kazooie history now to trade on and kind of lean on. And while Banjo-Kazooie was, fourth wall breaking, kind of tongue-in-cheek, self-referential, this is going to have, I think, the weight of all that history, and plus Nuts and Bolts, and that kind of Nuts and Bolts wasn't a failure in that it wasn't a failure of a game, but it was definitely a failure with the fans at the time. And so it's going to have that kind of world weariness to trade on, and also it's a pitfall too. So I'm going to be interested to see how they differentiate the humor of Yooka-Laylee from Banjo-Kazooie, Banjo-Tooie, and Banjo-Kazooie Nuts and Bolts, because oh boy, there's a lot of history there. So yeah, I do think Yooka-Laylee is going to be a lot more self-knowing than even Banjo-Kazooie ever was, and both in just the humor and the writing, because how could it not be? it's not only being written by people with 19 years under their belt, but it's also, I mean, let's be honest, they're fully aware of their fan base now than even they were during the time of Nuts and Bolts. The interaction between Rare and its fans, Playtonic and its fans now, is at a height it never was before. You don't have the Stamper Brothers and their utmost secrecy and we're going to hide people away in a barn and you're never going to know the people who make this game. That's all been kind of washed away. So because Playtonic is listening to what the fans want, I mean, fuck, we have an unnamed goldfish in this game because they're listening to what the fans are saying. Mm-hmm. So it's going to be interesting. And that can be a pitfall too, because you want to listen to the fans, but you can't be too hung up on what the fans want because you're never going to create new and exciting art if you're just trying to play to your greatest hits or trying to play to fans' expectations without ever surpassing them. So yeah, there's a lot to look for in Yooka-Laylee, and I'm really kind of I'm hyped, I'm pumped, but I'm also nervous too because, you know, there's mistakes that can be made, and I have faith in Playtonic that they're not going to make those mistakes, but it's going to be interesting, and I can't believe we have less than 2 months now. Yeah. I'm looking forward to Yooka-Laylee more than I am the Switch because as much as I want to play Zelda, come on, Yooka-Laylee means so much more to me than Zelda.
Of course.
Me, the gamer, Hyle Russell of DK Vine.
It means almost as much to you as Henry Cavill.
Yeah, so let's get to this third point. My supposed man crush on Henry Cavill. Yes, at the time that the original DC Extended Universe film, Man of Steel, came out, I was very impressed by how handsome Henry Cavill was. I no longer have a man crush on him so much anymore, though.
Now it's just a full-on crush.
No, he's losing his hair. He's I don't mean to be shallow, you know.
How dare you?
Bald. Guys have thinning hair. It happens, but it definitely.
Wait, how do you even know that he's losing his hair? Do you like look real close on his hair blog or something?
It was super obvious in Batman v Superman.
Super obvious.
Super obvious, yeah. And I don't know, Henry Cavill, it was the whole package, man. I found him just to be a dreamboat. Come on. But now that, you know, more of his forehead is showing, just doesn't work for me. I'm sorry. I'm sorry, Henry Cavill. I know you're listening, but I think I'm moving on. I'm sorry.
You don't want any of that forehead in your foreplay.
That's right, yeah. Plus, you know, he'd just be screaming Martha during lovemaking. And
of course, yeah.
That would just be a boner killer. Thank you for the call. We have another Kevin, by the way. This is not Kevin.
Can I officially name this Kevin, a la Rob Butler?
No, he said his name was Kevin, right?
I know, but can I give him an official specifier as a specific Kevin? He is now officially, from now on, and if he calls back, he has to use this name. Brittle Nipple Kevin.
Why?
I don't know.
What? I mean, usually...
I want to hear him say that.
Usually the names we give the people are just malapropisms based on us not hearing them due to it being a phone call.
The Butler one was some other weird tangent, I think.
Okay, Brittle Nipple Kevin. Congratulations. Nick Prol just bestowed that lovely moniker that you're now going to carry around like a wooden cross on your back. Congratulations.
You're welcome, Kevin.
All right. Thank you for the call.
Yes.
A lot of substantive discussion about whether I still get hard for Henry Cavill.
Brittle Nipple.
Next call, please.
Hey, Hyle, this is IODC. I was just wondering, since you tend to get pissy whenever Rare or Nintendo refers to Diddy as a ape and Donkey as a monkey, you could, at the petting zoo, do you like get pissy at a little kid when he calls a pony a miniature horse. Because if you do, could you please record yourself doing that? Put it on YouTube? I swear it would get a million views in 1 week. Okay. So have you ever considered that monkey just sounds funnier in most situations, while ape sounds a little more badass? I'm guessing primate is just a little too clunky. What else? I can't think of anything else to say. Well, see ya.
It's always a great way to end your call. Well, I can't think of anything else to say, but I'm not going to hang up.
I wonder if that guy's a fan of My Little Miniature Horse.
Well, I don't know. I like his idea, though, of me yelling at children at the zoo and putting it on our YouTube channel. I don't think anything could go wrong from that plan. No, ILDC, I do not yell at children at the zoo. However, I will use it as a teaching opportunity. My wife and I have done this at the zoo. We have said if a child says, "Oh, it's a monkey," or it's a...
You spank them.
Whatever. Yeah, I grab them from their parents and I say, "Come here, you need to learn some discipline."
New daddy has a treat for you.
And then I show them the Christmas card Matt gave me, and laughs are had by all. And then we go to Subway. So no, I'll bring it up. I'll say, let's say we're looking at the bonobos, and a child says, "Look, monkeys," and we'll turn to them. We'll say, "Actually, they're bonobos. You
guys are like annoying evangelists at the mall or something."
No, I mean we try. Look, if we feel like the zoo is there to be more than just
a kid, of course.
To gawk at animals, it's a place to educate yourself.
I just love the imagery of that, of two adults going up to a child and be like, "Excuse me, but just to let you know, they are called apes and they love you very much. And here's a book to take home."
Here's my business card. Check out dkvine.com. No, it's framed more conversationally. Oh, no, actually, they're bonobos. Here's some facts about the bonobo. Stuff like that.
Alternate facts.
Fake news. No. And, I see your point, ILDC, why they use certain phraseology when talking about these. It is a pet peeve, though. It is a pet peeve of mine. And I feel
why do you get so pissy, Hyle? So pissy.
Look, why is it that apes, monkeys, it's I never understood why it's the only, animal type where we allow such broad generalizations and mistakes to be made. It really does bug me when somebody sees a chimpanzee and they say, "Look, a monkey." Just
happens with humans. My gardener's Puerto Rican, but I still call him a Mexican to his face.
I thought you were going to say you still call him a human. And I was like, whoa.
No, I don't go that far.
And YouTube drops us like they dropped Cutie Pie.
No, see, this is comedy. That's I don't know what that is, actually.
I don't know what this is, honestly.
Yeah. It's not comedy, I guess.
It bugs me, Nick. And I feel like this is also why people have such a problem understanding evolution, because they just get hung up on, you mean we evolved from monkeys? No, that's not what they're saying at all.
It's not?
People just, for some reason, the term monkey, when not referring to a monkey just sounds so fucking hateful. And I want people to treat everybody with respect, and that includes animals, and that includes
Here
apes.
we go.
No, I'm sorry if I'm a liberal snowflake about how people refer to chimpanzees and gorillas and orangutans and bonobos, but
What if a monkey identifies as an ape, though?
okay, so that would be fine.
Okay.
And you know what? I would actually like to see kind of that characterization in the Donkey Kong series. I would like to see
That would be interesting.
maybe like a monkey who identifies as a gorilla. You know, Chunky Kong could fill that slot quite nicely because
He already fills a different minority that needs representation.
I'm trying to figure that one out, but I'm afraid to find the lines there.
The mentally handicapped.
Oh, yeah.
It could be lanky.
You know,
He could be a trans ape. That sounds offensive, even though it isn't in any way.
I mean, the thing is, it is a tightrope. We're joking, we're clowning around like Lanky Kong, but it is a tightrope walk, you know, a little bit, because I would like to kind of see in a world where all these animal species can talk, where they have a human-esque society.
Sure, yeah.
I mean, you know, we made jokes about it, but there was that woman who belonged to the NAACP who turned out she was white, but she identified as a black person, and laughs were be had. But you know, I say give it another 30 to 40 years, and that it's going to be a legitimate, you know, civil rights issue as people who view themselves as transracial. I mean, we joke now, but what we joke about now is actually.
Please no.
I'm just saying. So
yeah, I know it could be possible.
I'm just saying here. I mean, what we view as outlandish and ludicrous today will
wait. Ludicrous is white.
yeah. Clearly, he's white. I mean, so white. I mean, I'm blacker than he is.
Ooh,
we're getting in a lot of trouble.
Yeah,
a lot of trouble today. No, I don't know. It's. I would like to see kind of like the weird societal nuances and civil rights battles of the Rare Archipelago. You know, I found it interesting that Conker's Bad Fur Day established that different species do date and form relationships. I mean, Conker the squirrel and Barry the chipmunk.
So
it was a terrible relationship.
Their children might be, I don't know, discriminated against.
Well, I assume they couldn't biologically reproduce, and maybe I'm wrong there.
Well,
but
squirrels can't talk either, so you never know.
You never know. You never know what magic was done to their, reproductive systems. But I would like to see something like that explored more. How does a guy like Cranky Kong view that kind of stuff? Because Cranky Kong does view Professor Chops with a lot of disdain because he's a talking pig. That is actually canon. That was established in Donkey Kong Country. Yeah, in Donkey Kong Country Returns, he was bitching about why does this pig wear glasses, you know, as if like that was so abnormal.
As if he's a human? Wow, that's so racist.
No, but I think it's because talking pigs weren't the norm on Donkey Kong Island.
That's true. Yeah, it was the time. It was the time.
So stuff like that fascinates me. If we gave human-like intelligence to a bunch of animals, what would they do with it? Would it develop much like our society does, with all of its foibles and flaws? And
I'm sure some heavy-handed,
prejudices,
heavy-handed parable would come out of it. Wasn't Zootopia like that? I didn't see it. But...
Yeah, Zootopia was like that, and actually, that's a good point. I mean, if Disney can do it, surely Nintendo. Why is Nintendo more afraid to explore these boundaries than Disney? I don't know.
Because it's not Mario.
Right. Yeah, and I think it's just the cultural differences between the West and Japan, and I think
they're racist over there in Japan.
No, but I'm saying like they're gonna have different perspectives on this stuff, and
no, but they actually, I mean, there is probably an equal amount of racism over there, I would imagine.
Oh, I mean, there's racism everywhere.
Yeah.
Nick. Even as I'm trying to explain, even in the rare archipelago. And I want to see that racism. I want to see the ugly underbelly of the series I love. I want to be turned off. And because
you want to hate characters you used to love.
You know, it's like the people who saw Avatar and they grew despondent because they couldn't actually live on Pandora.
Well, they were previously mentally ill before they saw the movie, probably.
Well, it was Chunky Kong's favorite film.
Hey, he's mentally handicapped, not mentally ill.
Oh, fuck, microaggression. I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Shit.
More like a Microsoft aggression. You're giving me red rings of death in my eyes here.
I'm so sorry. I would like to... I apologize if I offended anyone. That's the way you do it?
He's not mentally handicapped. He's just a coward, which is in itself a minority.
I think the majority are cowards. Anyway, so anyway, it's like the people who wanted to go to Pandora and then grew so depressed because it wasn't actually a place. I get that way with the Rare Archipelago sometimes, especially with the state of the world as it exists today. I'm like, oh, if only I could live in the Rare Archipelago. So I want the Rare Archipelago to be uglied up a bit. So I'm like, no, I don't want to go there. Fuck that place.
Exactly.
I need to live in the now. I need to live in our reality, Nick. So I'm saying I'm putting this challenge out there to Rare, Playtonic, and Nintendo because I know you're listening, Reggie. I want you to make these various islands places that are even worse than our reality. Thank you. All right, I've said my piece. All right, let's take the next call.
This is IODC with a follow-up to my last call. I have no idea why Solid Snake called Diddy a monkey. I mean, chimpanzee.
Thank you for the call, ILDC, for the follow-up. Thank you for completely mixing up the premise of the whole point you were calling. Anyway, Solid Snake, I don't mind him calling Diddy a chimp because I would imagine Solid Snake would be quite ignorant about the difference.
I don't know, dude. We're talking Solid Snake. Never mind. I thought we were talking Naked Snake because I was going to say he spent a lot of time with wildlife, so he would know. I want to be rewarded for my good point.
All right, do you want a gold star?
No. What
do you want?
I want a blowjob. From you.
From me?
Yes.
Well, Nick, I've already licked that box you sent me, and quite
That's
honestly,
good enough.
I wasn't a fan of the taste. I just wasn't.
Oh, man.
I
gotta
recommend
eat more
maybe some
pineapple smells
in your diet.
Oh, I just said that actually.
Mangoes actually. People don't realize this. Mango juice is a great. It's a great flavor enhancer.
What is that? Chris Kattan's jism?
Yeah, actually, I take a shot before Henry Cavill gets his luscious lips around me.
Let's move on.
Do you want to? I could elaborate on this point some more. I could build up a whole elaborate fiction of me, Chris Kattan, and Henry Cavill on our lakeside cottage.
Would you then be like a settler of Catan?
Yeah, he...
Dead careers.
Yeah, well...
Hey, let's bring it back around. Monkey Bone.
He was in Monkey Bone. I was trying to do a Corky Romano kind of thing because that's the only thing I remember Chris Kattan.
But Monkey. We were talking about Monkey.
And I was talking about my bone.
This is true.
This is all factual news. The president can't tweet against this.
But he will.
He will. All right. Well, no, he even Donald Trump turn up his nose at the conversation. He would rather have an intelligence briefing than listen to the conversation.
He'd be like, "What is this?
Right.
A pig with glasses? No, thank you."
We need to have a parody Twitter account where Cranky Kong just put Donald Trump's tweets as Cranky Kong and see if people could tell the difference. Like, well, 50% of it will be Cranky Kong quotes, 50% of it will be Donald Trump quotes. We'll see if people can tell the difference.
I threw up my wife's back during sex. She's an exercise fanatic. Trump or Cranky?
Next call.
Hey, it's me, Karate Joe, and I'm just going to talk about the recent Yooka-Laylee update. You know, there was good news and bad news. Obviously bad news, the Wii U version was canceled. People definitely have the right to be upset over that. I mean, I'm personally not too upset, but I am getting the Switch. It does bother me that I'm not going to be able to play it day one, but, you know. Okay, good news though. Capital Casino trailer looks pretty sweet. I like it a lot. Love the visuals. The name's a little weird because cash is with a hard A and casino is with a soft A. So the pun sort of mixes the both. It works in text, but when you try to pronounce it, it gets a little weird. But otherwise, it looks pretty great. And I'm going to talk about something that might be interesting enough to talk about. If you watch the trailer and you go to the bit where Yuka's sliding down the slide, you can actually see, just barely, if you can make it out in the background, a booth with what looks like capital B just sitting along inside it. And that's interesting. So I'm wondering if this is a Witchy World situation with like Madame Grunty, and it's just sort of weird and unexplained, or, get this, if you pause at another time in the video during the slots, where he's ground pounding on the thing, or pulling it with his tongue, you can see, as one of the heads, capital B, with a mustache and sunglasses, so that might be him. I don't know if it's like capital B's, you know, brother, or if it's just him in disguise, or, you know, if it's a book, he might just be a fictional character in Yooka-Laylee's universe. I don't know how that works. That's also weird. Like, how does capital B own a casino in a book? Is this world going to be an exception? Yeah, it's a little weird. Anyways, yeah, capital B possibly appearing in his own stage. Sort of neat. Anything else to talk about? Oh yeah, I'd also like to recognize Musical Shy Guy. He's been really good at keeping me up to date with Yooka-Laylee news. Learned a lot from him. Great guy. I'd also like to thank Bob. He's great. I'd like to thank I Am Gibbon. He's kept me open-minded to many, many games that, you know, maybe I wouldn't have thought about otherwise, but I'm thinking about him now. I'd like to thank Mamechi. He has...
Oh, sorry. The Oscars have played Karate Joe off the stage. His acceptance speech ran way too long. How dare they do that to Karate Joe? He is a treasure of cinema. He just nails every role he's in. He is the next Meryl Streep. A lot of people are saying that.
His speech was a little too political for me, but I mean, he should just keep playing games, keep politics out of it.
Right. And karate is inherently political, you know. It's just because, you know, it's like you support Ralph Macchio or do you support Jaden Smith? You know, or Hilary Swank. And, you know, quite frankly, I think we need to all unite. And
Hilary SwankyCon.
Yeah, I think Ralph Macchio and Hilary Swank, definitely we need to stop voting for the third parties of the Smith kids, because quite frankly, they're ruining democracy with our karate franchise.
They're ruining a lot of things.
So, yeah, he had a lot to talk about with Yooka-Laylee. He talked about the fact that it's not going to be for the Wii U, which I think a lot of people have moved on from. I don't think it really... I think most people understood.
Didn't they make it up to those people somehow? What did they do?
For the backers, they gave people several options, including just going in for the Switch version, which means you have to wait. But... for example, I backed it on the Wii U, but they allowed me to, for a small price, I think it was just like $10 or £10 or something, it's 10 something. I'm frivolous with my money. Clearly, they let me upgrade to the Xbox One version, so I'm getting the Xbox One version now,
which is sort of like the rare box anyway, so it kind of makes sense.
Yeah, and actually, because I went in on the Wii U version for Yooka-Laylee, and then Rare Replay was announced, and this was right around the time too of Big Reunion, and I got an Xbox One, so it was just like, oh God, I should have just gotten it for the Xbox One. Granted, I'm going to get it for the Switch. I'm going to get it for the PlayStation 4. I'm going to get it for every platform it's on because
even if it's not good,
problems. No, I mean I'm a completionist, Nick.
Oh wow! So you're going to get what's it called, Young Conquer?
Well, the thing is, it's when the HoloLens comes out. Yeah, I mean, if it is actually included in the retail version of the HoloLens, then absolutely.
I will say for the Casino, I like the little deck of card baddies.
Yeah, I like. Okay, so IGN had it was I think it was around 15 minutes or so.
Yeah, I'm watching it right now.
Footage. Yeah, and a lot of people were upset. They were like, "Oh, it doesn't look good. It looks too." Either the complaints were it was too spread out, or it wasn't spread out enough. I thought it looked fine. I thought it looked like vintage, like a Banjo-Tooie world or something.
Well, I was just referring to the enemies.
Yeah, no, I know, but I'm going broader than that. I'm going for the whole thing. I thought Capital Casino, which it's too close to cappuccino for my liking, like
or cashew.
I don't know. It's I thought it looked fun. I thought it looked great. I don't understand the criticisms, and I feel like this is one of those
the majority criticisms, or
no, just some people. Just some people. I feel like Yooka-Laylee is just one of those games where, like any game, I try to go into with an open mind now. I try not to go in with any cynical perspective, but I don't see what there is to be cynical about Capital Casino. So,
I mean, I'm always a little cynical, but I'm watching I hadn't watched the video of the 13 minutes, and it's not spread out enough. What does that mean exactly? Like not big enough?
It's not sprawling or it's too sprawling. I've heard both complaints from different sectors. So.
Okay. I mean, in Banjo games, don't the worlds tend to get more sprawling as they go? So like this could be an early level?
Plus, we do know the worlds will expand the more pages you get.
Of course,
so
yeah.
We don't even know what kind of point in the game this is. So, I don't know.
It does look a little bit more obstacle coursey than most Banjo levels. And the way you get around, it's not so much... I don't know, it seems a little differently set up. I don't know how to explain it.
But hey, we don't want Yooka-Laylee to be
that's what I just... Yeah,
one,
of course.
Replica of Banjo. So, the toy box in a lot of ways did remind me a little bit of Mario, just in how obstacle-y it was. And granted, that was just, hey, this is so you can get a sense of the moves and what you can do in the game. But, if they incorporate a little bit more of that into the actual worlds, I won't mind so much, so long as they retain that quintessential rare sensibility.
Yeah, but
I don't want an obstacle course, but some obstacles here or there, it's fine.
To my original point, I think the deck of card bad guys are my favorite enemy I've seen from Yooka-Laylee.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you saw them, right? They're awesome. They're like have poker chips for arms. They have little coins for teeth.
They are awesome. Yeah,
that's like what kind of you were talking about. How like the lore is your thing, your big draw, which it is for me as well. But like I also just love enemy designs a whole bunch.
Mm-hmm.
So it's one thing I look for.
Yeah. Yeah, speaking of the lore, he was wondering a little bit about Capital B, and I don't have an answer, but Capital B, we know he's not a book character. He exists outside the book. He owns the company that I guess bought up the publishing company.
Wait, how does the book thing work? I guess I'm not up to date. He's not a book character. There are book characters.
No, the worlds take place within books. That's
so
why
they're not real though.
They're
that's sort of nuts
realms.
And boltsy in a way.
But okay, but it's just a way to give kind of contextualization to the worlds itself. Like, Banjo-Kazooie had puzzle pieces, but that was always kind of, jiggies, but they were it was kind of a vague notion, because in the original game, you put together the puzzle pieces, but the worlds weren't jigsaw pieces. So I think this is supposed to make it a little bit more literal, a little bit more logic behind the items, which I like. I like that.
But are the book worlds
retro,
real places?
But what is reality, Nick? I mean, they're real places in that they seem to be real realms. You're just inside the realm of the book. So from a certain point of view, yeah, they're real.
But when you come out of the book, then that realm is just a book realm to Yooka-Laylee, is what I'm saying, right?
Right, but that doesn't mean that things don't still exist within that book realm.
Oh, for sure.
What
I'm
happened,
just saying.
happened in the book realm, yeah.
Yeah. But to get back there, you'd have to go into the book. Could walk there, for instance.
And that's going to be how the overworld is set up. You're jumping inside the books, the tomes, as they call them. So, and of course, that's who the ghost writers are. They are actually the authors of these worlds who were then murdered.
Now, who would read a book about a casino? Like Scorsese?
Donald Trump.
Donald Trump, yeah.
Why?
Or maybe it's going to be like an Art of the Deal type of thing written by Capital B. That'd be awesome.
Yeah. That would be pretty cool and very timely. Yeah. So, and I'm sure John Trotter would love that. Woo! All right. So yeah, I don't know about Capital B's booth, but I assume maybe it's like where he gets sexual favors. One of them booths
from Russian prostitutes.
Because back in the day, Nick. Okay, so back in the day, before copious amounts of pornography could be found online, you'd have to go to an adult bookstore to get the really hardcore stuff. And they would have things called viewing booths within these adult bookstores where gentlemen could, dressed in their dapper, gentlemanly attire, you get the pencil-thin mustache, the monocle, the top hat, and they would go inside the viewing booths, and from within there, they would be watching adult cinema of the finest
You tell me this as if I didn't do it last weekend.
Well, then I'm letting our chaste audience know, our innocent audience, who their virgin ears have never been coated with the innards of our sack up until now. So they would drill what are affectionately referred to as glory holes within these viewing booths. And from there, they would insert their genitalia, the shaft of their penis, you see.
Or vagina.
Well, I think it's mostly dapper gentlemen doing this.
You assume their gender.
I'm sure, there were people of all sexualities and persuasions.
Let me interrupt your tale real quick. I had never seen this casino video that I have in the background, just to sort of inform me as we speak.
I'm talking about glory holes, and you're going to interrupt me with Yooka-Laylee discussion?
I feel like it's more appropriate. Yeah, I've been a real big cynic about this game. Yeah, asshole, okay. Flaming asshole about this game. This looks fun as hell.
Hey, I'm the one with hemorrhoids right now, Nick, okay?
Oh, I'm sorry about that.
Inflamed hemorrhoids.
No, but this, I think it was just something, maybe the jungle environments just weren't getting to me, but this looks very cool.
Says the guy who works for DK Vine.
No, but that's exactly why.
I wasn't feeling the jungle, man.
That's why I say that, because it was so old hat to me, is what I'm saying. You know what I mean? It seemed like, oh, wow.
Time.
Okay, never mind. Fuck. I'm trying to say to the platonic people listening, good job.
All right. There you go. You won over the cynic. Anyway, thank you for the call. Karate Joe. You are definitely more of a Ralph Macchio than a Jaden Smith.
Hello, Kongversation guys. This is Josh from Off of Geek Critique, and I am currently on my way to spend Christmas in South Carolina with my girlfriend and her family. I thought, what better time to call into the conversation and wish you guys happy holidays although, of course, I have no idea when this call will actually be played. I was listening to the Donkey Kong Country 3D Spotlight episode, and a thought came to mind that I've always kind of wondered about. Now, back in the day especially, even now, but especially back in the old days, DK Vine had a tendency to try to explain every single quote-unquote, everything that didn't make sense, that didn't seem to make sense in a Donkey Kong game or in a Rare Universe game. You guys found a way to make it make sense. But one thing I never saw you explain was how exactly two-player competition mode works. And what I especially thought was strange about this is that when I was a kid, me and my friends actually did have an explanation for that. We considered the alternate colored variants that happen in two-player competition mode, we consider those to be their own completely separate characters. We primarily did this because we would often play Donkey Kong Country outside, and, they're like, oh, I'll be Donkey Kong, I'll be Diddy Kong. But the problem was everybody wanted to be Diddy Kong. So we decided that the two-player competition characters were named Didden and Dixon and Donkin, and then nobody cared about Kitty, so we didn't give him an alternate name. But yeah, that's the basic way that we did it back in the day, is we would just add O-N instead of E-Y to their names, basically, or whatever, I-E, you know what I mean. So, did you ever have any thoughts about how exactly in-universe two-player competition mode might be happening, or was that just not a factor for you? Alright, once again, happy holidays. Thanks for listening.
Well, happy holidays, Josh from Off of the Geek Critique.
South Carolina celebrates Christmas at a weird time.
Yeah, I know, right? After Copcock Day, even. I mean, not only just Copcock Day, but then, the day after Coxing Day celebrations. So, whatever. I'm glad you celebrate Copcock Day first, though. I feel like that should be the correct order.
Of course.
So anyway, yeah. Wow, this is something I've never really considered, besides immediately dismissing the two-player contest mode as non-canon, because it just on its surface there was just no way to make it canon. Nick, help me out here, buddy. Did you ever give any thought to this?
To what exactly?
Is there an in-universe justification for the two-player contest modes in the Donkey Kong Country trilogy, or is it just non-canon?
I'd say not. I mean, for me personally, non-canon, but for you, I'm sure it would be way more fun to try to justify it.
Yeah, my thing is it kind of detracts from the actual game, the heart and soul of the game.
Yeah, why would they be competing over...
And why would there be, a separate Donkey and Diddy, Dixon, I believe, is, or something he said, I guess for Dixie. So, yeah, but I'm also the guy who explained the secondary modes in the Donkey Kong Country Game Boy Advance games. For example, the hero mode in Donkey Kong Country for Game Boy Advance, where Diddy is wearing his yellow clothing, his yellow hat and yellow shirt. I consider that fully canon. So right after the events of Donkey Kong Country, K. Rool then got back up and stole the Banana Horde again. So Diddy set out to do it as part of his hero training. Mm-hmm. So there's that. There's the time attack mode in Donkey Kong Country 2 Game Boy Advance, which would have had to have happened concurrently with the actual adventure, because it can't happen afterwards since Crocodile Isle blows up, and we know the only time K. Rool raised Crocodile Isle was in Donkey Kong Land 2, because anything else would be patently absurd. But yeah, Josh, man, you got me. I might have to take the hit on my extreme nitpicky fan wanking role model status, because I do not have an explanation for a two-player contest. I wrote it off as non-canon back in 1994, and it's something I kind of stand by today. And don't get me wrong, I think it's great if you can come up with a personal fanon that justifies it or gives you a reason to play it. I never had a reason to play it, honestly, because for me, the appeal of Donkey Kong Country was working with a friend to beat the game.
Yeah.
And having this whole competition aspect. I mean, I tried it out, but it was never really...
It's an odd mode to have.
It felt like a Mario mode because, in the original Mario platformers, Mario and Luigi never worked in tandem. They were competing.
Yeah.
And that's because of the mentality that's, Super Mario Brothers came on the heels of, which was that arcade kind of one versus one mindset. And co-op wasn't really a thing until people started developing more with home consoles in mind. And, wouldn't it be nice if we worked together rather than at each other's throats? So, and it's one reason, again, Sea of Thieves is the most fun experience I've had with a video game probably since, my God, Donkey Kong Country 2, maybe? Because it is a purely co-op game. You can play by yourself, but the heart and soul of the game is playing with others, working together as a team and accomplishing something magical. And so, yeah, two-player contests just never had an appeal to me. And I think because of just the alternate colored Kongs, it was just easy to write off as something that doesn't really happen. An extra game mode that's there, but not really part of the game.
Gotcha.
But if that makes me a hypocritical fraud, then so be it. Because it's a hill I've died on many times. I can admit that, I'm selective in what I get anal about.
We all are.
Which is also something they do in those adult bookstores. Let me explain to you how they do this.
Let me interrupt by saying Casino looks really good.
Why don't I take because this episode's getting long in the tooth, so I better take the last few calls if we have time. I'll explain to you how men have anal sex with each other in adult bookstores of yore.
Hey, since the site is down or whatever, I apologize if you heard this before, but did you replace DK Vine with Greenborn City because of the buyout? Because that would have been a reason. Okay, bye.
Was that fear in your voice, ILDC, or I don't know. It sounded like you were afraid of what answer might come, which I am going to respond to you with the creepy clown laughter. So maybe you should be afraid. I'm going to drop this in post-production, by the way. I'm going to drop in some creepy clown giggling. So you should be scared, ILDC. All right, bring in the creepy clowns. Fantastic. All right. No, we didn't replace the site with Green Porn City. Well, let me explain to you, for those of you who don't know what Green Porn City is, Nick. I don't want you to get Nick in trouble with his parents again.
Yeah.
So, back in 2002, Chad and I we're getting itchy to be more creative than we felt like DK Vine was affording us the ability to be. So we created a webcomic called Green Porn City, and the joke doesn't translate at all. The joke was by that point, in 2002, the internet had been around for so long then that every possible web address with a .com ending was already taken, and so we got a completely nonsensical web address name that we then had to name our webcomic after. Not very
That
funny.
never translated. I never got that.
Yeah.
But I like it now,
anyway.
in theory.
So we did this webcomic about this fictional city called Greenporn City. It was terrible. There were some good ones, but it was mostly very much a product of its time. Wacky, kind of Family Guy. Oh, wouldn't it be funny if this reference from pop culture appeared? And that would be the joke in and of itself. Had we actually stuck with it, I'm sure we would have developed it into something better. Much like Elvis and Slickmoney, I'm mortified by the first season, but still pretty proud of the second season, besides some kind of off-color jokes that make me cringe now. But anyway, so during that time, we were working on Greenpoint City and not DK Vine, and we actually let other people run DK Vine during that time period. And DK Vine moved off server for the only time in its history, and it was hosted by another server while we hosted Greenpoint City on the server DK Vine was on. So a lot of convoluted nonsense, but
it's basically the reason I'm here speaking right now to you. So.
Right. So it wasn't the buyout, though, because we started Greenpoint City, I believe, July 2002. The buyout wasn't confirmed until September 2002. It was basically just Chad and myself thinking. I just graduated high school, and Chad was, a year off from graduating high school. So I think we were just thinking, well, we're getting too old for this stuff. We're going to have to ease our way out of it. And we didn't want anything to happen at DK Vine because we still cared about Rare. We still cared about Donkey Kong. We still cared about Banjo-Conquer, the rest. And of course, Star Fox Adventures wasn't even out yet. My God. But you get this mentality that you ironically enough outgrow that you're getting too old for this shit, and you want to do something else. And it was actually the buyout that brought me back to DK Vine, at least on a part-time basis. What happened was the buyout was announced, and it felt like the end of an era. It was the end of an era. It didn't just feel like the end of an era, but it also felt like my childhood getting punched in the kidneys just a little bit. Ultimately, I love a lot of what Rare has done with Microsoft, and especially now in the St. Phil Spencer era. And, I'm fine with the buyout now, but then there was a lot of uncertainty, and we didn't know what was going to happen with Donkey Kong. We knew, at the time, we were a lot more confident that Banjo and Conquer were going to be all right than we were Donkey Kong was going to be all right, because Rare was no longer there to guide Donkey Kong as they had for 8 years. So, I remember that day, or the day after, just thinking, I really need to come back to DK Vine, because it was like, this is a big deal. This is a potential crisis, and we need to all kind of man together. We need to team up and weather this storm together. I remember thinking, I was sitting in my one of my first college courses and being distracted by thinking about the buyout and thinking, if this weird fandom, if this whole notion of a Donkey Kong universe is going to survive, I've got to get back to it. I've got to kind of do my part and help guide people, or else this whole notion that Donkey Kong, Banjo, Conquer exist in the same shared universe is going to be lost to the ages. Mm-hmm. So it was the buyout that brought me back to DK Vine, and Greenpoint City by that point had already withered and died, and it was clear we didn't want to do a webcomic.
Who would want to do a webcomic?
Really, and had we stuck with it, I'm sure we would be a lot more successful than we are today. But we wouldn't have done Elvis and Slickmoney, which I wouldn't trade for the world, and we wouldn't have come back to DK Vine and been in this kind of renewed era that, again, I wouldn't trade for the world. So yeah, everything has a funny way of working out. So thank you for the call, ILDC, and I hope the clowns didn't scare you too much. I hope they scared you a little.
Yeah,
bit,
just a little.
You should be scared of clowns. All right. Why? By the way, just a little off-topic tangent here. Why are clowns a thing? Was there ever a point that children actually like clowns? Or is it just one of those things that I've railed against in the past, that when people who do flee their childhoods, who don't do what I did and re-embrace childhood after a certain age, are these people just people who forgot that they hated clowns when they were kids, and when they become adults, they just were like, well, yeah, clowns, that's something kids like. Let's hire a clown. Because I feel like there's no logical reason why clowns should have ever been a thing except a vast misunderstanding of what children actually enjoy.
That could be the case. I could tell you the truth if you want.
Tell me the truth, please.
Well,
I want to be educated.
I'm kind of a big clown fan myself. I mean, I don't know that much.
You're down to
I'm down to clown. I don't know that much, but from what I do remember, basically the term clown comes out of the word zany, actually, which stands for rustic fool. It's just, your standard thing out of early modern commedia dell'arte, which they themselves directly are based on the characters of ancient Greek and Roman theater, Pretty standard stuff, like rustic buffoon characters in classical Greek theater who were known as skleropyktes, from Piazin to play like a child, or dikaliktas. I mean, pretty standard run-of-the-mill stuff, besides other generic terms for rustic or peasant. In Roman theater, the term for clown was fosor, literally digger or laborer, and the English word clown is first recorded from 1560 as cloyne, which the generic meaning rustic, boor, or peasant. But, it kind of developed more modern terms, and the circus clown developed in the 19th century. It derives from Philip Astley's London Writing School, which opened in 1768. Astley added a clown to his shows. I mean, if I remember correctly, it was mostly just to amuse the spectators between the equestrian sequences. So I think that's where it came from. If I remember correctly.
You know what? I'm going to take your word for it. That doesn't explain why Bozo the Clown was ever a thing, though, Nick.
Yeah, we didn't cover Bozo at clown school, so I think they don't like to talk about him.
Okay. All right. Also, it doesn't explain why Lanky Kong wears a red nose.
That's actually a consequence of heavy drinking.
Oh, okay. The Steve Bannon effect.
Yeah,
Gotcha.
Sure. Bannendorf.
Next call.
Hey guys, it's Joe. Just wanted to say that you are the best fan group around, and I really wanted to say that Jet Force Gemini has the best, absolute best Nintendo 64 soundtrack, bar none. It's completely underrated. Everyone likes to make fun of the tribal quest, but the soundtrack is phenomenal. The best synths on the system, the best orchestration. By God, we need a full orchestra rendition of the entire score. All right, peace, guys.
Well, thank you for the call, Joe. Not Karate Joe. Not Joe Mudd.
Do I get to name this Joe?
I don't know. Can you let me name this one? You already got to name somebody.
I wanted to call him Brittle Nipple Joe. Yeah, go ahead.
You already used Brittle Nipple. We can only have one Brittle Nipple. Brit Nips.
Go ahead. Name him.
Well, we have a Joe Mudd, obviously. So, and Joe Dirt is a beloved David Spade character.
Sure.
So, can't beat him. How about Joe...
Mulch.
Joe Mulch. I like that. Joe Mulch. Thank you for the call, Joe Mulch. This is why you need to give your last name, people, or else we're just going to saddle you. And why you have to clearly enunciate your last name, or we're going to saddle you with something that's going to just be kind of a mark of shame for the rest of your life. So...
Or fame.
Yeah. Speaking of which, let's take a call from Rob Butler.
Hi, Joel and Nick. This is Rob Butler, and I just wanted to say something that I thought of about Super Mario Odyssey. So I thought when I saw the trailer that New Donk City is probably a parallel version of New York City, and has nothing really to do with Big Ape City, since Mario's traveling in different dimensions. I think this is one where maybe Donkey Kong, and that could be either Cranky or Donkey Kong, Junior Donkey Kong, or grandson, just somebody else named Donkey Kong, I don't know. He became a hero of the world somehow, and they named New York after him in his honor. And also, for some reason, the people are a lot taller, because I think I don't want to think of a world where Mario's not a human. Goodbye.
Thank you for serving me my call, Rob Butler.
Yeah.
I like this idea. Now, we don't know really how internal logic of Super Mario Odyssey, where, a lot of people are making a big to-do about, no, it doesn't look like it's on Earth. And I was saying it's on an alien planet because you can see weird planetoids in the sky. So I think it is an alien planet, but it could be a parallel Earth. And I like the idea. You said Donkey Kong's like a hero of this world. Well, what if he conquered this world? What if he is a tyrant? What if this is the bad timeline where Donkey Kong has a goatee and he took it over by force? So there's that possibility. A literal Planet of the Apes, Planet of the Kongs, yeah. So I don't know. I know Miyamoto in one of those too cute for their own good interviews where people try to coax legitimate storyline and canon answers out of his mouth, and he just he gives something cute like, "Oh, I'm Bowser Jr.'s mother."
Oh, is this the one where he blushed and lactated onto the camera?
Right, which he shouldn't be taking all those estrogen pills. I don't know why he insists on taking them, but I mean, he's just getting milk everywhere. God, good Lord. Which is fine because Nintendo's going to bottle it and sell it too, because gamers going to drink up some Miyamoto milk.
Oh, absolutely.
Right. So anyway, he said that it's quite possible that this is where Pauline lives, New Donk City. So, maybe Pauline is the mayor of New Donk City, and she has a fetish. Let's just, she went gorilla, and for her, there's no other thriller.
Or maybe she's like the Monica to DK's Bill, baby.
Really? Did we have to bring Bill into this? All right, well, since we're doing it. Hey, babe, it's me, Bill Clinton. It's been a while. Haven't been on the show as of late since my wife lost the election. I mean, she won the popular vote, but I can't get her out of the house now, and my dick is a-twitching, and I don't mean I'm on the game streaming service. No, my dick, it needs some love, and I don't know where to get it, and I'm all cooped up, and I need to roam. Billy Boy needs to get out. I got to get out in this New Donk City. It looks promising, man. There's some sexy bitches in this city, but I don't know if they're ready for my big dong,
I'm just glad we have a better relationship with Cuba now, so I can get some more cigars, baby.
Okay, I'm gonna send this call again because apparently the first time it didn't go through, right? So whatever. It is me, the match. So where was I? Okay. Donkey Kong 2 on the Virtual Console, make it happen. It has to happen. Nintendo should do it. Speaking of Virtual Console, the Switch is not going to have a Virtual Console at launch, nor is having an internet browser, nor does it have really much of anything. The UI is just bland. There's nothing on it. It's trash. The Switch is dead on arrival. It looks awful. I can't believe that it has less features than Xbox One. PS4, they do everything, those things. You could watch TV, you could do this, that. Why is that? It doesn't happen with the Switch. Why can't we do this and do that? Why does the Switch have nothing besides for just games? That's the worst thing ever. I know you say, oh, you want a game console for just games. No, that's not it. That's because on the Switch, it's portable, so you might want to watch Netflix or watch Hulu or Amazon Prime Video or whatever. You can't do that. Only play games. Sorry, even though it's a tablet. Oops. The Wii U could do more. But, it's like I have a Wii U and the Wii didn't have DVD players. And the GameCube didn't either. Because guess what? Nintendo's stupid. Also, Yooka-Laylee. I hope it gets delayed on the Switch until December just so all Nintendo fans could explode. They don't deserve this game. Or, they do, actually. I'm just being hyperbolic. But Mitch does not deserve a pizza from me. Not at all. Mitch doesn't deserve anything from me. Because I won the bet against you, and I'm going to win the bet against Mitch. It just doesn't happen. Okay? And this will prove if Donald Trump's going to get reelected too, if I win this bet. So we'll see what happens. Or he might get impeached. Who cares? But
So, to recap, Donkey Kong on Virtual Console. Switch is just a disaster. It's gonna suck. I can't believe I'm buying one. I can't believe it. And Mitch, you're gonna owe me a pizza. I just know it. Also, what do you think about the current news about Cupid Jazzy? If you heard about it, like it got revitalized as a new game. It's now called For Fun, and apparently they stole assets from Banjo-Kazooie or something in Cupid Jazzy, and apparently it was released on Steam Early Access and people gave it bad reviews, and now Jim Sterling, the guy who said it's morally right to pirate Nintendo games. Oh, by the way, is it morally right to pirate Nintendo games?
Okay.
Wow.
Thank you for the call, Mamechi.
Coked out Mamechi.
Wow.
Sassy.
So much anger.
Sassy Mamechi.
So much anger. He also apparently got winded near this call. Which, to be fair, I lost my breath there too.
Yeah, you heard about that QP Jazzy thing?
I've heard about it now. I've been off the forum today, but yeah.
It cracks me the hell up. It's hilarious. It's like one of the greatest recent examples of pure like hubris and misguided.
I don't begrudge anyone from following their dreams.
Do it legally and not scumbag ways.
It is a series of unfortunate events right now. So not to get all Lemony Snicket up in here. But no, it's not morally right to pirate Nintendo games, Mechi. The only instances where I would make the case where it might be okay is if it's something that's not being offered by Nintendo at that present time, like say Virtual Boy titles. And if but I feel like you always need to support the artist that you want to support, and that includes video game developers.
What a typical game fan comment, though, to sum up the whole call. It's gonna suck. I can't believe I'm buying it. That's like
I can't believe it's not butter.
Yeah.
Did you know it's not butter, Nick?
I didn't know that. I thought it was margarine.
I know. I was putting it on Fabio's luscious man breast, and it was really making his pecs pop.
Until Perry the Parallel Bird ran into his face.
I know. Oh, God. That's still like the best news story.
Yeah.
I don't care if it's a decade old at this point. More than a decade old. I don't know. It's still the best. Yeah. Plus, that's a really fun roller coaster that he got whacked in the bird with. Apollo's Chariot. Makes you feel like you're flying.
What is
like
this,
Superman.
the Mamechi episode again?
Or Henry Cavill. Maybe that's how he lost his hair. It just blew right off.
That would make sense.
So, but what was his point? The Switch is terrible.
Dead on arrival.
Terrible because it doesn't. I'm sure they're adding this stuff later on, right? It's not. I mean, have you heard about this?
I have. I have heard it doesn't have Netflix and stuff. I mean,
are they adding it later?
That's what people are saying. I haven't heard an official statement on that. It seems odd to not have it in box.
Well, the fact they're not having any virtual console, I that seems very temporary to me because there's no way they're not going to have virtual console.
They probably have some new system for it that's connected to their new pay internet thing that they're going to unveil later. But
yeah, I know they're killing Miiverse. I mean, they're not killing it right away, but it's not going to be on the
See ya. That was stupid anyway.
Yeah. Oh, the Miiverse is... The other night, Michelle and I, because we used the Wii U, ironically enough, as a Netflix...
You can't turn it on to watch Netflix, though, without seeing all the... or whatever.
No, you do the quick launch.
Oh, okay.
On the gamepad. But we use it as a Netflix machine. We use it as an Amazon Prime Video machine now. So, I mean, yeah, I would want my Switch to
That'd be
have
nice.
all that stuff, and I'm sure it will by the time I get a Switch.
But your Xbox One does that, too.
My Xbox One does that too, yeah. The interface, it's easier for the Wii U because again it has that quick launch menu on the gamepad, so you just click the button.
I guess they're just gonna have to bring back the whole Netflix does what Nintendo don't thing.
So anyway, but yeah, the other night we cleared out, we exited Amazon Prime and went over to Netflix, and we had to go to the Miiverse screen on the. Yeah, and we were just sitting back, I swear, for about 10 minutes, laughing at the inane comments that were popping up. It just the worst of the worst. And
I love this game to play when my parents are fighting. That's one I saw one time that made me laugh so hard.
Yeah. Cat Peach gives me love I don't get from Mom.
Dad touched me in my toad area.
Yeah, I think I saw that on a Christmas card once. No, I'm not going to miss Miiverse whatsoever. The only thing I use Miiverse for is capturing screenshots for the Facebook
I want to
page.
see Miiverse and a Miihearse.
They should actually make that game now. It could be like a me version of the Luigi's Mansion series.
Pretty rad.
Miihearse. So, Memechi, I would calm down. Most people who are getting the Switch are going to get it for the games. They're going to add the interface later. Is it annoying that it's not coming right out of the box? Absolutely, but
could the Switch actually
honestly,
fail? Yes, but we'll see.
As somebody who still has a Wii U, I don't mind that the Switch is not going to offer the one thing I use the Wii U for more than anything besides playing Tropical Freeze, and that's using it as an entertainment machine for watching TV and movies. So
I use mine for GPS in the car.
Really?
Yeah.
That seems very dangerous.
It is.
Honestly.
It does not last long.
No, probably not. Because there's that range, man. The range is going to... Because once you get, so far away from your actual... Unless you take the console with you and you plug it in.
I just take a screenshot of the roads in front of me. I post it on the Miiverse. I say, a little help. And then I wait for, some little badly drawn answers to pop up.
It's weird. I still get, replies or yeahs to some Miiverse post I made 3 years ago.
Yeah.
And I'm just like, who is...
I remember getting banned from Miiverse for a week.
Penis drawing.
Yeah, I drew a picture of Mario, but the nose and eyes were obviously a hidden penis, and it got tons of yes, but then one of them, somebody caught on.
You see, what you do, though, is when you go into an adult bookstore with your Wii U, you draw the Mario nose as a penis.
You know what I like? Capital Casino.
Ground control to Donkey Kong. Ground control to Donkey Kong. Here we go. He is the leader of the bunch. You know him well, and he's finally back to kick some tail. And he's coconut gun fires and spurts today. If he shoots ya, it's gonna hurt. He's bigger and faster and stronger too. He's the first member of the DK crew. Oh, DK Donkey Kong. DK Donkey Kong. Donkey Kong is here and there's nothing I can do.
This has been a File 2 production.
Que rico.